What's up, everybody? It's Glenn and Big Jack back for the conference championship weekend, bringing you another best bets of the NFL weekend video. Both games on Sunday this week. It's conference championship weekend. Last weekend with two football games until the fall. With that being said, Jack, it's great to have you back. Although you are coming off a pretty tough week, how do you feel about your own 3 week? Still a strong record on the season, still at 52.5%, but obviously a little bit of a letdown last week. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we said it when we did the video. There was only four games. It's tough to kind of feel like you're forcing picks in that sense. And like I told you, I really only liked one of the picks I had, which was the under in that Baltimore Texans game, which felt like a heartbreaker to lose that one. But yeah, I didn't feel great about the board last week. I thought it was a tough week in general, and obviously I was on the wrong side of all three. Not a great way to close out the season down the stretch here, but hopefully we can bounce back a little bit this week. There is a play I do like quite a bit, so maybe just go a little heavier on that, and pending the results of this weekend, then we'll see what Super Bowl 58 looks like 2 weeks down the line. How about you? Coming off 2-1, that was a little bit of a solid bounce back for you.
Yeah, man, much needed. Right at 500 before last week. I'm gonna bring 3 picks this week, so I do run the risk of ending the regular ending the season before the Super Bowl with a losing record. But I'm not gonna even let that enter my brain. We're gonna go 3-0 this week. We're gonna win some money. Coming off of last week, so what we had Ravens going or Texans going to the Ravens, getting their asses absolutely kicked. We had the Bills and Chiefs game, which was another great game, but the Chiefs just finding a way to handle that Bills team and come out victorious. Niners, uh, kind of having to like have the fight of their lives against the Packers. Packers come out, they look pretty good. At one point, I thought the Packers were going to start pulling away. I think they had a missed field goal that really ended up costing them. And then Detroit Lions taking care of business against Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What was your biggest takeaway this weekend when watching those games?
Uh, Biggest takeaway is probably Mahomes is he's just that good. I mean, six straight AFC championships. Chiefs have been in the AFC championship every single year that he's a starter. A lot of hype around that matchup of kind of tagging it as the next Brady versus Manning type rivalry in the AFC between Mahomes and Josh Allen. And some people have pushed back saying, oh, well, that's not really fair. Josh Allen shouldn't be in the conversation with Manning. I mean, it took Peyton Manning quite a while to get over that hump to finally survive the AFC and get to his first Super Bowl, where unfortunately he beat the Bears. You know, not great for us, but Josh Allen's a hell of a football player, man, and I guess my biggest takeaway is Mahomes, might really be that Jordan type guy of why Ewing and Barkley and all these other Hall of Fame players never got a title during their prime in the 90s in the NBA because Jordan was always just handling his business. And it seems like, who knows how many opportunities he's probably already blocked Josh Allen from three now. Who knows how many more he'll kind of block him out from having. It's a gauntlet in the AFC, and Mahomes just keeps cream keeps rising to the top year in and year out, and I could not be more impressed by that fact. And even in that game, they missed the field goal. Obviously, brutal to go out that way, but like you make that field goal, they got about a minute 30 with two timeouts. I mean, I'm hard pressed to believe that they're not going down and at least getting a field goal themselves to win the game. So yeah, that missed field goal is haunting, but I don't know. I think I'd take my chances with Mahomes and the ball in a minute and a half left. So I don't think that's necessarily what cost them the game outright right there. But yeah, That's where my mind goes. The number one takeaway, Mahomes is just incredible. And then number two is just the dominance of the Ravens. Like, dude, that team is something else.
Yeah, it was something. It was tight in the first half, and then all of a sudden they blew that thing open, and it got ugly quick. I mean, pretty dominant performance by the Ravens. I think my biggest takeaway of the weekend, and you're gonna hate it, is the Detroit Lions are a little bit more than that house of cards that we've been talking about on this show. I'm not saying that they're world beaters. I'm not saying I expect them to win this week, but they have proven, despite losing a pretty embarrassing game to the Bears this year and not looking good in either one, and having their things about them. Dan Campbell being kind of a meathead of a coach, if you want to call it that. I don't know if that's unfair to say, but they have their things about them. But they're tough. They're a tough football team, man. They find a way to win. Yeah, uh, you know, the Bucks were they like a killer team in the playoffs? No, but they were one of the hottest teams in football, and they found a way to take care of business against them. So, got to give the Lions some credit. I do think they're the weakest of the four teams remaining. I will be shocked if they go on some kind of surprise run from here. But with that being said, maybe we start talking about this week's games. Anything you want to add about the Lions before I just hop into next week's games?
No, I mean I'm the one who's more so than you kind of openly continued to voice my disbelief in that team. And I'll still push back and say they beat an extremely weak NFC. They've beat a 10-7 team and a 9-8 team, both of which were projected to be borderline tanking and drafting top five
Yeah.
going into the season. But irregardless, you get two playoff wins. It doesn't matter how weak I perceive the NFC to be. You make it to the NFC Championship. Um, God bless you. You are not the house of cards that I have so consistently accused you of being. And dude, considering where that team has been over the course of our entire lifetimes, I'm sure that they are, you know, both playoff wins. They've acted like they've won the Super Bowl, and I mean, God bless them. I'm sure when if the Bears ever win a fucking playoff game while I'm alive, I'm sure I'll probably have pretty similar sentiment the way it's been going on the south side of Chicago. So,
No doubt about it. I think that's fair takes all the way around. I do think there is a valid point being made by you that the Rams, Bucks, are they really like top tiers teams in the NFL? No, but you play who you play. They were two hot teams coming into the playoffs. Sometimes they're some of the toughest tests, and yeah, they're in the NFC Championship game, so you got to give them a little bit of credit. So, with that being said, this week two games. We start with the AFC Conference Championship. The Chiefs head to Baltimore, 2 o'clock on Sunday, 2 o'clock Central Time, I should say, 3 o'clock Eastern. What are your initial thoughts, Jack? We got Baltimore as 4-point favorites against the Chiefs. Obviously, you just said Pat Mahomes is kind of that guy, that dude. And then the over unders, I'm gonna have to look that up. I know the over and under in the other game, but what's your initial thoughts
yeah,
on that?
yeah, I think it's gonna be a great game. I'm a little upset that it's the I mean, I get it. The NFC games in San Francisco. I mean, the NFL is going to eat up the market no matter when they play the games, but they want that West Coast market in the later window, whatever. I kind of wish it was the later game just because I think it will be the better one, potentially the best one left. I could see that game end up being better than whatever the Super Bowl matchup potentially is. But I'm not going to be on it personally. I This Ravens team, we've kind of touched on it a couple times over the course of the year, but they're like in those nerdy analytic type numbers, legitimately like a top five team in NFL history. Um, they're finally healthy. A lot of times they've gotten to the playoffs. Lamar Jackson's been banged up. Their defense has been banged up, and they just haven't really been able to make a legitimate run at the title. This year, they're totally healthy. if I'm not mistaken, I believe Mark Andrews has been like confirmed that he's going to be back for the first time in a long time on Sunday. We all know how much Lamar Jackson loves that Mark Andrews target. I mean, shouts out your boy. You were on him a while ago,
Yeah.
kind of before probably anybody else was with Isaiah Likely, and kind of hammering his props and turning a nice
Yeah,
profit on
he's
those.
made me a few $100 for sure these last couple
Right.
months. Yeah.
So like having that dual tight end threat for a mobile quarterback is it could be scary. Chiefs defense has been their stronghold the majority of the season throughout all their offensive struggles, and then like we touched on earlier, Mahomes kind of gets in the playoffs, starts really putting his handprint on it, doing his thing. Coupled with that defense, uh, I, I I guess I would lean the Ravens if I was going to play it. Maybe come Sunday, I get bored, not a lot else going on besides watching the game anyway. Maybe I grab a little taste of something along the way. But as of now, I'm not playing it. I have a slight lean to the Ravens. I do kind of semi jokingly wonder a little bit of the NFL wanting Taylor Swift storyline heading into Las Vegas. That comes into my mind a little bit if there's going to be some fluky officiating in the game to kind of mess with it. But I just really think that that Ravens team is so outstanding. Um, I would, I don't know. Obviously, I'm not confident enough to bet it, but that's my lean is to play the Ravens and lay the points.
So real quick, the over under set at 44 and a half. Um, I'm not on that. I'm not on the over under. If I had to pick one, I think I'd lean the under. Um, I'm on the Ravens and very convincingly on the Ravens. I almost might consider looking up like an alternate spread. Uh, it's Ravens -4 right now. I see them winning by double digits. I know that's aggressive. I know Mahomes is that dude. I think the Baltimore defense is the perfect matchup to that Chiefs offense. Their linebackers and Kyle Hamilton should be able to hopefully neutralize Travis Kelsey to a certain degree. And other than that, you got what Pacheco. I think that Ravens defensive line should be able to handle their run game or at least contain it, not let it blow up. And then you got Rasheed Rice left, and I just think that Ravens defense is going to be a class above where that Chiefs offense is at this point. Obviously, Mahomes is that dude, and he could change that. But my head just goes, that's the perfect matchup. And then on the flip side, I think the Ravens offense is the perfect matchup to go up against that Chiefs defense. The Chiefs defense is one of the top. I think these are the top two passing defenses in the league right now. Are the Ravens and the Chiefs? The Ravens will just go run the ball. Like I think that it's the perfect matchup for the Ravens. Also, like I said, I would lean the under. It would not shock me if this is like a 24 to like 10 game at all. I think Ravens win. I think they win convincingly. The only the only things that make me second guess it at all is Mahomes and Andy Reid. But every other thing in my body says this is the perfect matchup for the Ravens. It's in Baltimore. This is their chance. It's the year of the Harbaugh. It's Ravens, baby. It's Ravens -4, and it's Ravens -10, maybe -9.5. So, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I think you make a great point as it pertains to the run game. I mean, it's no secret. The Bills last week, I was on them. I even after I made the pick, I almost like acknowledged the fact that it's not a great pick because of what was going on with that Bills defense and their linebacking core specifically. I mean, the Bills defense was missing, I think, like officially 5 or 6 starters, and they were missing like 9 guys who play like over 50% of snaps. They were just decimated, and they gave up over 9 yards per play. I mean, that's just fucking ludicrous, honestly. Um, but to your point about the run game, the Bills gashed the Chiefs. I mean, it wasn't anything to really do with their offense why they couldn't get that across the line. That was just more of a defensive, they were just decimated. But the way they ran the ball on them and the way that Josh Allen ran the ball on them, you got to think the Ravens are going to be able to do something real similar against that Chiefs defense for sure. So I think that's an excellent point you bring up, just in regard to the run game specifically.
And not to diminish what the Chiefs have done, obviously not in the 6 years, but I'm talking about just this year. Their offense in these 2 weeks, yeah, they've gone up against Miami and Buffalo, which are like two of like the trendy names, two of the trendy teams in the NFL. Miami was out of edge rushers, bringing edge rushers off the fucking street, and then Buffalo was bringing linebackers off the street. AJ Klein, who the fuck is that? So it's like,
Yeah.
of course, when that's happening, Andy Reid and Mahomes can just take advantage of a couple matchups, and they could figure out how to do enough and rely on that defense. I think this is the first week where the Baltimore defense is relatively healthy, as far as I know, and they're going to have to go out there, and I think they're going to have to score against a defense that's not banged up, not injured, and I think it's just going to be too much. Baltimore -4, Baltimore -9.5. Not official. The -4 is official. That's where my head's at this week. Um, and then as we go to the second game here, it's the Lions at the Niners. The over under on this game is at 51.5. Niners are 7-point favorites against Detroit. Jack, why don't you lead us off? What are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I'm only making one play this week, but it's gonna be a 3 unit just fucking slapper. I'm taking the Niners -7. I played it on Sunday night. It was, I was kind of hoping it would have the potential to drift to 6.5 or 6, maybe if Debo got like officially ruled out. But on Rivers, it was -7 and it was even money, so I just hit it. Um, I don't know. I think the Niners were lucky, honestly, last week to escape the Packers the way that they did. Obviously, Debo getting hurt so early on sort of hindered them. They're a different team when he's on versus when he's off the field. But I think it's, a situation you see all too often in sports where, the better team sort of survives and then they go, you know. And I think they really turn it on. Detroit's going to have to get out of the comfort of that home field advantage at Ford Field all year long. Detroit's been quite a different team on the road than they have been at home. Um, Detroit's defense, like their EPA per play is like 30th in the NFL. Um, they just have too many issues on the defensive side of the ball. I think Kyle Shanahan comes out foot on the gas. I think it's a very different game than the Packers game was. I think that they get out to an early lead and it's kind of just all she wrote. Um, I don't know. That defense, it worries me that the 40s, excuse me, that the 49ers defense is so poor against the run a little bit. Um, but I guess that's sort of negated by my opinion that the Niners are going to get out to an early lead the way that they have on a lot of teams all year. They play that bully ball, and then you just can't really afford to try to get back in it with the run when you're playing from behind. So, I like the 49ers to jump on them early and just kind of keep them at arm's length all day long. Similar to your feelings about the Ravens' potential for that double-digit win, I think this is a laugher. I don't see any situation in which the 49ers don't win by at least 2 touchdowns.
I'm also on the 49ers -7, and I echo a lot of your thoughts. The only thing I'm going to give Detroit some credit on defensively is their run defense has gotten dramatically better. And I do think there's a chance that they slow McCaffrey down. Now, that being said, the minute they go to the air, I think Debo, Kittle, Ayuk eat them alive. I could see the Niners gashing them for a lot of yards at a time. I see the Niners handling the Lions in San Francisco. I see the Niners being still one of the best teams in football, like you said. They maybe had that little stretch of stretch of game time against the Packers where they had like that oh shit moment. Like, are we gonna fuck this up? Are we gonna lose? We're one of the best teams in football, and maybe that's what gets them mentally right to make this run the rest of the way. Niners -7. I'm not going to go on record saying like 2 touchdowns or anything like that. I just like that -7, -10, or you like to win by 10, win by 11, something like that. I'll take Niners. And then the other thing is the over under 51.5 in this game. I'm going to go under. It's going to be the similar reasons that I had in that Packers game. I think both these teams, the way they'd like to play the game on offense is by sustaining drives. Now, I know I just said that um, I could see the Niners gashing the Lions for some yards through the air. I do really see that, but I do think in the heart of hearts, I think both these teams would like to have these long, slow, methodical drives where they handle time and possession. And I just see that 51.5 being too big of a number. I'm going to go under 51.5 in that game.
Yeah, I like that lean. I also think, yeah, well, I'd like to think for the sake of the side that I'm on, that 49ers defense comes out with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder after last week. Kind of, tighter game than people probably expected. And, they're getting clowned a little bit in the sense of that they weren't able to stop the Packers earlier on. I think they'll come out, rearing and ready to go, ready to sort of assert their dominance that they showed at times throughout the course of the season. And like you said, I think Kyle Shanahan he likes to run the ball. There's a lot of times last week we're watching that Lions game against the Bucks. Especially if you were on, I know you were on the Bucks. You're probably thinking, just throw the ball. What are we doing running? We're gashing them in the air. They can't do anything to stop the pass. But I do think, like you said, there's something to the effect of wanting to, keep your defense resting on the sideline, keep their defense on the field, tire them out, all that good stuff. I think Shanahan will not abandon the run, even though the Lions, to your point, have been fairly stout against it. I think they'll still, kind of stick to it throughout the course of the game and try to minimize the Lions' opportunities in possession and the explosive offense that they have been throughout the course of the year.
Amen, my brother. Spot on. All right, quick recap. Jack is on the 49ers -7. I am also on the 49ers -7. I'm also on the under in that game. It's 51.5. And then I'm on the Baltimore Ravens -4. And unofficially, I will be locking an alternate line or two for a bigger spread. Probably look at 6.5. Probably look at 9.5. Maybe not anything crazier than that, but that's where I'm at. That's where Jack's at. That's our best bets of the NFL weekend. We're gonna be back, I think, tonight with a Bears State of the Union video after they hired their offensive coordinator. Maybe talk about some of our thoughts with the direction of this team, direction of this franchise. But thanks for tuning in for the best bets of the NFL weekend. We'll be back for the Super Bowl with a couple bets. Maybe we'll come up with some props, something fun for you fans at home. Like and subscribe if you're new here. Till next time, Jack, hit it to him one more time.
Bears.
Bears.